Hello, my name is Beth Dixon, and we are covering the Math 0030 final review, and we are on page 8. And I think this will be a short set. I don't know. If you do need to contact me, you can contact me at beth.dixon@ws.edu, and you should be able to reach me. Okay, let's just dive right into problem number 27, which is graph the linear equation by finding and plotting its intercepts. Notice it did not ask you to find this one by graphing using the y-intercept. It wants us to find the intercepts. So this one is very specific in its directions. So we're going to find the x and y intercepts. To find the x and y intercepts, I do that by first making a very small, what I call a t-table, because that's what I grew up, but by making a chart and letting the x be 0 and finding the ordered pair where the y is 0. I have one teacher, Ms. Medford, who calls this the cover-up method of finding the x and y intercepts, but whichever way your teacher showed you to do it, you'll get the same results. I just like to organize mine in an ordered pair. And what I'm going to do first is let the x be 0. If I let the x be 0, that gives me -6 times 0 plus 3y equals 18, which basically just gives me 3y equals 18. That's why Ms. Medford calls it the cover-up method. She covers up the 6x because the 6x is -6 times 0, it goes away, and we're left with just the 3y equals 18. And that is a simple equation, a one-step equation that we can solve by dividing both sides by 3 and giving us y equals 6. So the x is 0, then the y is 6. Then, if we do the same by letting the y be 0, we get -6x plus 3 times y equals 18. And that, whoops, I wrote the whole equation down again, but what I meant to write was -6x plus 3 times 0 equals 18, which gives us -6x equals 18, because this time the y goes away and we're left with -6x equals 18. Divide both sides by -6 and x equals -3, and that puts a -3 with the y being 0. So we have two ordered pairs. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice, so you can see my pal's T here. So we've got the points 0, 6, and -3, 0. So I'm going to graph those points. Remember, these are ordered pairs. So I go 0, then up 6. When I let the x be 0, that is my y-intercept, because I have the y left. When I let my y be 0, that gives me can't talk and count at the same time. That gives me my x-intercept. Can't think and talk at the same time either. And and that gives me my two ordered pairs. And that gives me the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Again, the y-intercept is 0, 6, and the x-intercept is -3, 0. Once I have graphed those, I'm going to take a straight edge. In this case, that was what I was thinking about, is what to use as a straight edge. And I'm going to connect those two, and I'm just going to draw my line through those 2 points. And there is my line. Now let's do the same thing for the second one. I'm going to draw my table way over here out of the way this time. And again, let my x be 0 and my y be 0. When my x is 0, I get 2 times 0 minus 5y equals 10, or negative 5y equals 10. Notice I just end up with an equation without the x. When the x is 0, the x term zeroes out, and I'm left with the equation without an x. Then to solve that, I will divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5, and y equals negative 2. Now I'm going to do the same thing, letting y be 0. 2x minus 5 times 0 equals 10. 2x equals 10, divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 5. And that gives me 5 comma 0 as the other ordered pair. So I have 5, 0 as one pair, as one intercept, which would be the x-intercept, and 0, negative 2. And again, take a straight edge and connect those 2 points. And there is the line for the B part of number 27. Okay, and as for 28, we're going to match the graph with the description. And as a hint, it said decide if the quantity is increasing, decreasing, or staying the same. Well, let's look at the graphs first, and let's decide if they are increasing, decreasing, or staying the same. So as we look at this, as we're moving from left to right, again, for most of what we do, and I say it's because we're English language speakers, and English language moves from left to right, but that's not really why. It's just a good way to remember that we read from left to right. So if we read our graphs from left to right, it makes sense. But as we read these graphs from left to right, as our x increases, our y decreases. See how that's going downhill? So this is, the quantity is decreasing. As we look at this graph and we follow it, is the quantity decreasing, increasing, or staying the same? It's staying the same. Is this quantity increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? It's increasing. Is this increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? It's increasing. So we have one that's decreasing, one that's staying the same, and 2 that are increasing. Well, what's the difference between these 2 that are increasing? One of them starts at 0, and the other one starts not at 0, it starts up. So now let's look at our problem. So first I looked at the graphs, and now I'm going to go back and look at the words, because sometimes for me the graphs are easier than the words. I actually told a teacher once that I don't do words, and now I'm having to explain words to students. I bet he's laughing. So the freezing point of water in Celsius for x equals Monday to Sunday. Okay, so the x values would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the freezing point of water would be my output. Now, I may not know what the freezing point of water is, or I may know what the freezing point of water in degrees Celsius is, but it doesn't really matter, because my question is, would the freezing point of water in degrees Celsius be changing? Would it be increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? It would be staying the same. It wouldn't change based on the day of the week. It would always be the same. So for this case, it would have to be this one because the others don't make sense. Now, let's look at B. The total cost of renting a car for 1 day and then driving X miles. Well, we've done this problem in class and we've talked about it and we've set it up. And driving X miles generally means they're going to charge you per mile, and they're going to charge you for having the car and then driving per mile. So that would be kind of increasing. Let's look at the next one too. So this one would be have an increasing. So it could be either one of these increasing. This one is staying the same, so that could only be one. The price of X tickets to the movie Black Mass. Well, the ticket price wouldn't change, but it's saying the price of X tickets. So if I buy 1 ticket, then 2 tickets, then 3 tickets, then X tickets. So the number of tickets change. And the more tickets I buy, the more it's going to cost. So that would be increasing as well. So there's my 2 increasing. So I need to decide which of these 2, one of these is B and one of these is C. And so if that's A, these are B and C, that leaves this one to be D. Well, let's make sure it looks like D. The number of salted caramel pretzel bites remaining on the plate. Ooh, that sounds good. X minutes after the server delivers a large order to the table. Oh, they deliver a big order, and then it's how many are left after they get there. So there's a whole bunch there, and then there's so many minutes until all of them are gone and there's 0 left. That makes perfect sense for the letter D. So now we just have to choose, because that would be decreasing, assuming that everybody likes salted, or somebody at the table likes salted caramel pizza bites. So that would be decreasing. So we would have B and C to decide between the 2 increasing. So here we have to, and then we said, what was the difference here? One of these started at 0 and one of these started above 0. So which one of these would have a 0 starting point? Okay, if I drove 0 miles, would I still have to pay something for the car? 0 miles. Yeah, if I rent a car, even if I don't drive it, they're going to charge me for actually renting the car. But if I bought 0 tickets to the movie, they're not going to charge me anything. So this one is C, because 0 tickets would cost $0 and go through the point 0, 0. But driving 0 miles, I still have to pay a surcharge or a rental charge. And so that would be the B. And I have deciphered the matching the graph with the descriptions. I've deciphered the words. So again, if you need to get in touch with me, you can't read it anymore, but it's beth.dixon@ws.edu. You can go back and read that at the front of the video. And I hope you have a great day.